I'm Judy Zelina. This is the Millcreek Government Channel. Aarp Foundation Tax Aid is the nation's largest volunteer-run tax preparation and assistance service, and they want you to join them. Now, they started in 1968 with just 4 volunteers at one site preparing 100 tax returns. Today, it involves more than 35,000 volunteers, and it serves 2.6 million taxpayers annually. But even though they've grown a lot, they are still all about the grassroots. Being a volunteer, you will be helping people in your own community with a much-needed service that's free, individualized, and has no strings attached. To tell us more about the program and the rewards of volunteering as a preparer or a facilitator, we have Rick Godswa. Rick is the technical coordinator, and you are also an instructor with the Erie District.
Yes. Thank you for having me on again, Judy. I always like to talk about the Aarp Tax Aid program. I find it a very rewarding experience helping people. And anybody that likes to help people, you know, this is a great opportunity. We'll be starting with our classes in October to get prepared for the next tax season. Generally, I run the classes 2 days a week, and we go for probably about 9 o'clock till about 1 p.m. It's nothing real stressful. We don't expect everybody to memorize the entire tax code.
Oh, well, that's a relief.
which has probably about 30,000 pages in it.
Right.
And I doubt whether anybody's ever actually read the entire tax code all the way through. But we only deal with a very small portion of it.
All right.
And we do tax returns for people of any age, for low to moderate income levels. Mm-hmm. You do not have to be an Aarp member or a senior citizen to have it done.
Okay. Now, how long have you been with the program personally, Rick?
I've been with the program for 7 years now.
Okay.
And I started out doing taxes 1 day a week. And
how's that grown for you?
So pretty soon after that, it went to 3 days a week. And last year, I ended up doing it 5 days a week, which was a little bit too much. Mm-hmm. I never ask anybody to do more than 3 days a week.
Right.
Most of our preparers are only doing it 2 days a week. Some of them even only 1 day a week. Mm-hmm. So if you've got some time on your hands, it's a great way to help your fellow citizens in the Erie area.
Well, you're talking about being a preparer. What if I do want to help, but do I have to be an accountant?
No.
Do I have to have a background in tax preparation?
No. Before I retired, I worked at General Electric, and I was a machinist. I was a blacksmith. I was a pipe fitter, and a number of different occupations, but I didn't have any accounting background.
Okay.
So I've always liked dealing with numbers, and I just happened to see an ad on the Aarp website the one time, and you know, it says help prepare taxes in your area. And I had done my own taxes.
Right.
And I had done them for a few friends. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, gee, I know how to do it. And I thought mine was a little bit more complicated because I have a second floor apartment that I rent out. And I soon realized how much I didn't know about taxes after I got started. And it was fun learning to, you know, a little bit more of the ins and out of the tax system.
Okay, so it's, you don't have to have an accounting background. Okay, what if I want to volunteer? Because of course we're looking for volunteers right now, Rick, but there's no way that I want to work with numbers and prepare taxes. Would you be able to find a fit for me in this program?
Yes, we have client facilitators, and they're the first contacts that the clients have when they come in to do their taxes. Mm-hmm. They greet the client. They may go through their forms and get them in order. Every client that comes in has to first fill out an intake and interview form. And it's 3 pages that they have to fill out on the form. A lot of them need assistance filling it out. We have people that come in and as soon as they're handed that form, they say, oh, I didn't bring my glasses with me and I can't read it. And so they need assistance, and that's where the client facilitator comes in. And they'll go over the form, And then if they see that there's any questions about it, whether it's what we call in scope or out of scope for us, then they would come and talk with one of the preparers or the location coordinator,
Okay.
and have them go over it. And then they look and make a determination whether or not we can actually do that tax return. We do have a limit as far as what we can do, and that's set by the IRS.
Okay. Can you give me an example of something that you would not, that would be out of scope?
Well, I can use myself as an example. If I wasn't part of the program and I came in to get my tax returns done, they would say, no, we're sorry, we can't do your return because I do have the rental unit. So we can't do rental units. And we do Schedule Cs if somebody has a business, and we run into that often, especially these people who do the small craft businesses.
Right.
And mostly the people that we do it for, they like doing the crafts and they sell a little bit of it just to give them some money to do some more crafts. They don't make a lot of money on it.
Right.
But there too, we're limited as far as what we can do. If they have a loss on their business, if they're claiming a loss, it's out of scope for us. If they have over $25,000 in expenses, it's out of scope for us. If they do their accounting on anything other than a cash basis, it's out of scope. So if they're carrying an inventory, then we can't do that. It's out of scope for us.
Okay, what about people, I know people have called, maybe they've got gains or losses with stocks and bonds. They've done a lot of selling of stocks and bonds. Is that something that you get into?
Yes, we do that quite often.
Okay.
We always ask those people, not to call for their appointment, or if they do call for their appointment, to make sure that it's after they receive their forms. W-2 forms have to be out in the mail by the end of January. The brokerage statements, which are the 1099-Bs, do not have to be out until the end of March. Or I should say the end of February.
And even some of those are late.
And some of those
because we get
late,
phone calls that I had it done 2 weeks ago and I just got another form.
Right.
How many times has that happened?
Yeah, and I've even had clients that come in and say, well, I've had this appointment, but I got this letter from whatever company, and they said that they're not going to be mailing them out until March 15th. And so somehow they got an extension from the IRS to send those out.
So yeah, that always puts a little glitch in it sometimes for you guys.
But to answer your question, we do stock transactions.
Okay.
We just ask everybody to bring their forms in and try to get them in as much order as they possibly can.
Okay, and what about age limit? Is this only for seniors?
No, people of any age. So we've had teenagers come in that have their first jobs and they have no idea how to, even though they're very simple forms to do, but they just have no idea how to complete a tax return, and we do it for them.
Those are the easy ones.
Right, those are some of the easy ones.
Those are when they get right in and right out again.
We had one gentleman, he came in a couple of years ago to one of our sites, and he says, I went to a paid preparer just the night before, and he had 3 W-2 forms, and he was told by the paid preparer that he went to that his minimum charge would be $400. They didn't even look at the forms. They just said, because you have 3 W-2s, it would be $400. And those 3 W-2 forms only added up to about $22,000 in income. So he was thrilled to have this done for free. And as I do, say, this is a free service. We don't get paid for it. We are not allowed to accept any tips. So even though a lot of people are very grateful and they want to give us tips, some of our sites that are nonprofit sites that we do tax returns at, they can make a donation to the site if they want to. And so we're grateful that they open their doors for us and let us prepare returns there.
Well, I'm very pleased that we are a part of this program. And the Millcreek Municipal Building is one of your sites.
Yes.
And I'm the one that I do take the appointments, and I usually tell people to call in January, not before, because I don't get everything set up and ready for appointments until January, right after the holidays. They call. And also what I tell people, and I do want to stress to anybody watching this, if they're thinking of making an appointment too, to don't wait until you have all of your paperwork. In other words, if you're waiting and says, okay, I finally got my last piece of paperwork and it's March, well, the odds are all of my appointments will probably be pretty much gone because they do go quickly. I tell people, call and schedule, say if you want an appointment at the end of March because you're comfortable that everything will be in. I usually tell people at that time to call me in January, say, Judy, I want to make an appointment for the end of March. And that usually works out better. I'm starting to train them that way.
Yes, yes. That's
You see how that goes?
Idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. So,
because they're really disappointed if they're calling and they're saying, but I always come there, Judy, and get an appointment, but I have no appointments. And also another thing that I want to point out too, my appointments that I set in an hour may be less than the year before, depending on my preparers, correct?
Correct.
This is why we are so interested in having anybody who's even has an inkling and thinking about doing this to contact you, right?
Yes, yes. And even if you're not sure about it, come in and you start with the classes. And we have had people that come in and they go through 2 or 3 classes and then they decide that it just isn't for them. And some of them have just, then said, well, I'll be a client facilitator.
Right.
And do that. But yeah, give it a try. So if you're unsure, just come into the classes and give it a try. And so the classes are very informal. We try to cover as much of the tax laws as we can.
Where do you hold the instruction classes?
At the Salvation Army Center on 11th and Liberty Street.
Okay.
And they're nice. They open up their senior room for us, and so we can get quite a few people in there.
Oh, nice.
So, and of course, every year we have some of the preparers who have been around for a number of years, and they come in for the classes just to get refreshed on what's going on. And then, of course, in November, I go down to Indiana, PA, and they have an instructors workshop, and they'll update us with all of the changes that have come about, for the federal returns and also for the state returns. We do the federal tax returns, we do Pennsylvania tax returns, we do the local tax returns, and we also do the PA 1000, property tax and rent rebates.
Okay.
So, which, of course, if anybody's out there, this year there is an extension on it to December 31st. So if you forgot or you haven't gotten your forms done, there's still time to get the form.
Or even if they're thinking they may be eligible for it, they're not quite sure.
Right.
Then I usually tell people, just give me a call, bring in your income tax return, I can look at it. Because from doing it, we know what needs to go on that form. So even if you're thinking, well, maybe I might be eligible, because I love to run numbers to get money back for people. I just love doing that.
Right. So I like getting people big returns.
I know you do.
Without breaking the law, of course.
And it's rewarding too, because quite honestly, it's a free service. So many of these people don't even realize that this is around, that this service exists. So that's why the word is getting out, and the appointments do get filled quickly.
Yeah, I had a couple came in a couple of years ago and I gave them the intake interview form to fill out, and they said, we have to fill out this whole form? And I said, well, yes, it helps us. It's a guide for us to start with. And they got to the point where it talked about energy improvements to their home. And they said, well, what's this mean? I said, well, if you did energy improvements, I said, there is a tax rebate that you get for it, which they didn't know about. And that's one of the things that are extenders. We don't know whether it's going to be there for this year.
Right.
We won't know until the end of this year whether they extended it for this year. But as it turned out, they put all new windows in, new doors, new furnace, new hot water tank, and they ended up getting an extra over $400 refund. So they were just thrilled because that was something that they just weren't expecting.
I want to tell a quick story, Rick. This was, I think it was last year or the year before. Rick and I had done one of these programs, and of course it's on the Millcreek YouTube channel, so anybody can see it. I received a phone call from a woman who had a problem with her taxes. It was an issue, and she said, is there any way that I would be able to talk to that guy that you interviewed, because he sounds like he just knew everything about taxes? And she says, can I have his number? I go, well, how about you give me your phone number? And I called Rick, and honestly, was she from New Jersey?
Maryland.
From Maryland.
Yeah, right outside of Baltimore.
And Rick was able to help her with an issue on her IRS tax return, correct?
Yes, it was deposited into the wrong account. And it took quite a bit of work and a number of emails and phone calls, but finally I got a hold of the IRS tax advocate for that area, and they said that they would contact her and help her. And it took her quite a while, but she ended up, getting her refund.
So what I'm saying is, this guy really, really does want to help you. When he says that, he is not kidding.
Yeah.
And obviously, you don't have to be just from Erie County, too. But I think it's so interesting, all the different people you meet too, because they really are grateful. What I would like to remind our viewers, if anyone is going to be taking advantage of this service, what do they need to bring to an income to the appointment to make it easier for you, so you can get the tax return done correctly?
Well, all of the people who make appointments at the different sites should have a list of everything that needs to be brought in, and they have to bring in all of their income statements, their Social Security statement, their 1099-Rs, which would be their pensions, IRAs, annuities, of course any W-2 forms that they have. If they have brokerage accounts, and they would have to bring in their 1099-B statements. If they have any gambling winnings, they have to bring in their gambling winning statements. Some people have 1099 miscellaneous forms.
Okay.
So if they do any work and they get paid on 1099 miscellaneous form. So just about any type of income. And then of course if they have any expenses too. Most of our clients don't do itemized returns. And a lot of our clients are senior citizens, so their homes are paid for.
Right. And
also, if they receive a 1095 form, it would be either a 1095A, B, or C, and that has to do with the health insurance.
Okay.
We don't know what's going to be going on with the health insurance, but all I know is what the laws are right now.
And that's what we're talking about
right,
at this point.
At this point.
Right.
So, and I don't think even if there's any changes that they will affect this year. But I could be wrong about that. We never know what Congress and the Senate are going to end up doing. And so, if you have especially if you have a 1095A form, which means that you bought insurance through the marketplace.
Okay.
That definitely has to go into your income tax form.
All right.
And some people get an advanced premium credit, and that we have to determine whether you got enough of a credit or too much of a credit. So if it's too much of a credit, it has to be paid back, and if it's not enough of a credit, then you get an extra refund.
ID, you have to bring ID with you?
Yes, we ask everybody to bring a photo ID. You have to have proof of your Social Security number, so either bring in your Social Security cards, and that's also for all of your dependents.
Right.
You have to have proof of the Social Security number.
Okay. Okay. Now you said that you're going to be starting, if someone is interested, they're watching us now and they're interested in doing this, you said you're going to be starting classes, instructions in October?
Yes.
Okay. So really, the sooner they give you a call, the better.
Yes.
And we'll just be going over, I know when you guys get there, they have all their computers, they get them all set up and everything. They're all ready to rock and roll. And I know there's software. And I think it might change from year to year, and this is from the IRS, I believe, right?
Yes, the IRS contract.
So you're going to show me, if I decide to become an instructor, you're going to show me how to go through all this software and how to work it, correct?
Correct. So we go over the software. Last year was a challenging year because it was the first time that they had switched software companies. And so I assume we're going to have the same software company again this year. But it was a challenging year, and even all of the people who have been doing it for a number of years had to learn the new software program. So it was a little bit more challenging for me because I had to learn everything before I can instruct it. And so I was just trying to stay at least like 2 steps ahead of the class.
That wasn't an easy feat.
No,
Sometimes,
it wasn't.
was it?
Yeah.
Now, I know we talked about that Millcreek Township is one of the sites that you work at. How many sites do you oversee, Rick?
We've got 11, 12 sites right in the Erie County area. So we've got them in Harbor Creek, Union City. A couple of years ago, we had to close our site in Cory, which I really hated to do because we just didn't have an instructor or preparers there.
Preparers, yes.
And so, we end up having to close that site. We almost had to close our site in Edinburgh, but I was able to save that one because I found a place where we could do it.
Okay.
And in fact, last year we picked up a new preparer that's working out of the Edinburgh site, and she's very good. So
good. Good.
So it's always nice to get somebody on board that can help save a site too, from cutting back on the hours or closing up altogether.
And that's where the preparers come in.
Yes.
Because the more preparers you have, the more days you can be open, the more sites you can have, and it just runs smoother.
Yes.
If you've got more preparers, then the preparers that are there are not overwhelmed. You can sort of space things out there. I know for me, I don't know if all the other sites do it, but I set up appointments, actual appointments.
Just about all of our sites have appointments. There's
They aren't just
no
walk-in.
walk-ins.
No,
No, and it works out a lot better when we have an appointments. Sometimes it's a little difficult because living here in the Erie area and tax time, of course, is in February and March, which aren't the best for as far as weather goes.
I know.
And so some people call up and say, it's a snowstorm and I just can't get out, and so we have to reschedule them, and so then we have that opening there, and sometimes it's a good break too, because we do have times where we run over our allotted time. Most of the times, most of our sites will allow an hour to do a tax return. And that also includes a review. Every tax return has to be reviewed by a second person.
Okay.
And then we have to go over all the forms with the client and make sure that they understand everything.
Okay.
And of course, it's printing it out and getting it e-filed. So there are a couple of sites, because of the changes in the software, where last year they went to 1.5-hour appointments.
Oh, okay.
And that's too where if we have extra preparers on hand, then we can still serve the same number of clients. So we were down a little bit last year from the year before, and that was directly due to the change in the software company.
Rick, now for this program, where can people find out more about the program, and who should they contact if they decide they want to volunteer in some aspect in this program?
They can contact me directly. My number is 824-9480, and they can send me an email at rgodswa@neo.rr.com. Or they can go on to the AARP website and fill out a form through them, and then we will be contacted and get a hold of those people.
Okay. I'll tell you, I want to thank you for all that you've done. It's a great program. I am so proud and I'm so pleased that I can be a part of this program and be a site to help people, because honestly, just to see their faces, it's just such a relief. They've got their taxes done. It didn't cost them so much money, and everything's filed. They don't have to worry about anything. So I thank you. You've got a great team. You really do.
Yes, we do.
I love all the people that come to the Township building. I look forward to tax time, to having you guys there. I have the coffee ready for them. That's about it, though. I got coffee for you guys.
It's nice going in there and everything's all set up, and the room's all opened up, and the forms are setting out. So
well, that's because I appreciate what you guys do. They do a great job. And really, viewers, if you want to get more information and really to volunteer, as a preparer, as a site facilitator, give Rick a call. He'll be glad to help you out. So Rick, thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to get you a lot of preparers this year, okay?
Okay, great.
All right, maybe I'll get 3 days at the township
Okay.
if I can get more preparers.
Okay, that would be fantastic. So,
Thanks, Rick. Viewers, again, give them a call. It's very rewarding to join any program with AARP, but this one especially is kind of near and dear to my heart. Viewers, thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel. Until next time, have a wonderful day.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.